Hey everybody, welcome back to Smirking Reviews. This is Rob, and we're back talking more Walking Dead Season 11. We're up to Episode 12. It's called The Lucky Ones. Full spoilers ahead, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. So, anyway, I actually do like this episode just about as much as last week's, just in a different way. We carry on some of that story, but let's jump into it. We got 3 stories to get to and not a lot of time to do it. So let's start with what I consider to be the C story. So, yeah, Ezekiel and Carol. Now, why do I consider this the C story? Mostly because it's just Ezekiel and Carol being Ezekiel and Carol. There's some nice character stuff here, but it's Carol doing exactly what Carol Ezekiel doing what Carol does, or Ezekiel does. Carol will do anything to help people. Her history with Ezekiel is, also there. So it's always nice to see Melissa McBride and Carrie Payton get to do these scenes together. Will they or won't they? Get back together again. Will will the tumor thing work out? With the spinoff, it hasn't been canceled yet, the Daryl and Carol spinoff. The only thing I wonder about the Daryl and Carol spinoff is not as much as, is it going to be any good? But more like, when does it take place? Is it going to be taking place in some kind of blank spot that we haven't talked about? Or is it going to be post-Walking Dead? If it's post-Walking Dead, I don't think Ezekiel makes it out of the series. But in the end, he's gotten way longer screen time than his book character did. And Carrie Payton brings so much more to this character than what's on the page, even though I think Ezekiel's a very unique character to the book. But it's still more of the same here, but it's them, so it's fine. We like seeing these scenes of them together. And, her having to, again, point out to the guy who, he was the king, it was this act that he put on to give people hope, but now he's Ezekiel, and I think that the people that remember him will remember him as King Ezekiel and having Shiva and everything. But it's important for her to remind him, we need you. There are a lot of people that could be in your position that got bumped to the front of the line that might not do anything with this, but you're you. And so I think another question would be, she saves him, right? Is her saving him going to be a lesson for Carol? Meaning, what if they fix him and he still dies? It could be one of those, I still got to live and be with you and help, and that, sometimes no matter how much you try, you can't save anyone or save someone. And it's about the time that you had with them and less about other things. Oh, and it's really sweet, and Jerry's in it, and everybody loves Jerry. I also want to tell people that if you like the actor who plays Jerry, check out AMC's nobody talks about this show, Halt and Catch Fire, where Jerry plays a side character on that, I think starting in Season 2. So that's the C story. The B story is a continuation of what happened last week, where Stephanie, who's not Stephanie and definitely not Elizabeth, is actually Max, played by who's the assistant to Pamela Milton. Now, I really liked this because it does change up the book. With Eugene and who he talks to on the radio in the book, it's all really straightforward. This, we get to flip it, have this whole film noir thing from last week. They took Max's place to get information on Alexandria so that Lance Hornsby can, try to figure out how he can become a leader outside of the Commonwealth. I talked to a friend who said he just wants Eugene to stop crying, and he didn't mean that like, oh, poor guy. I mean, he literally was just like, stop being wet and crying. And I can't disagree with him there. But I do like seeing stuff from Max's point of view. I like that they filmed that. One of the only problems I still have is everybody just looks so clean. It's so weird. The show, even the intro at this point, kind of feels like they should have changed it a little bit to fit the new format. Seeing everybody just clean, like in the hospital. Like the hospital scene with Carol and and Ezekiel and Jerry, it's like, where are we? Everything looks so good. And I mean, again, that's kind of the point where we're rebuilding, and some things are going to look the same, but it just doesn't feel the same. It's so bizarre. To be like we had way back with the original governor played by Morrissey, not not this Morrissey, David Morrissey. That would be great though if Morrissey is just like, I don't know, all of a sudden just shows up and starts singing Panic at the, Panic on the streets of the governor's house. Sorry, it's early in the morning and I've made a Morrissey reference in a Walking Dead show. Anyway, seeing everything from Max's point of view is nice, and seeing how capable she was, and her connection to Mercer being her brother, and that connects more things to like unravel what's going on in the Commonwealth. I like all that stuff. It just really, I think it takes away more from the A story in this, which is Maggie, Aaron, Oceanside getting to meet Pamela Milton and Lance Hornsby. Last week I talked about Pamela Milton's problem being ignorance, but it's not just that. All right, she knows that this is a class system. She knows her son is like a sociopathic narcissist who she, to punish, just cuts off his bank account. Now, I know that rich people probably, some people that are really, really well off that have shithead kids, that's their move. My thought is, you take away a sociopathic narcissist's money, it's probably going to get worse. So this is just a move for the story to make things worse for other people. Then you have Lance, who, again, I freaking love this actor. I fucking love this character. He is like the gold coin that he has that's not a real gold coin, like you see the gold, you see the shiny, you think, oh, this is gold, this is great, but then you realize underneath that it's just not. And I think that that's kind of like almost a metaphor for what Lance really is you think he's just this guy in a suit who runs things for Milton, does a lot of shady stuff, but that's it. He's usually, those guys are usually cowards. Those guys are usually the ones who run and hide. And instead, what Aaron finds out is that not only is this guy shrewd and to his own shenanigans, this guy's also deadly. And that's a great combination for a villain. That's great. And also because like you kind of go, okay, we want to label him as a villain, but what I like about him is he feels like a real person. There's a lot of cartoony things in this show that you could say that they toned down to bring it to like more realistic levels. I feel like he's one of the closest, like Negan, to being almost like a comic book villain. And I really dig it. I really dig it. And this guy is just killing it. Literally. He probably gets the zombie kill of the week with just showing that he can hit zombie headshots with a pistol at a decent distance without really looking like he's... I mean, he is pointing and everything, but like... And maybe if it got chaotic, he would fail, but I like it. I like that he's out there shooting his frustrations away, Which gets us to, like... I haven't even gotten to the whole thing with the thumbnail, right? Which is, Maggie, who can she trust, right? Everything comes down to her, But first, I want to bring up Pamela Milton and the Game of Thrones type, parade that she's on, where her inside of the carriage or whatever she's got is like a very nice little place to sit down. And that's what I thought of, was Game of Thrones. I thought of Cersei Lannister and Robert Baratheon on their way to Winterfell, it felt like that, this show's version of that, and I went, oh man, what is one way that you're gonna really be able to show that Pamela Milton is not like, she's created this whole other persona for herself that we're going backwards, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that people out there in the wilderness are gonna see that and go, oh good. No, especially when she's also armed with a bunch of, stormtroopers, for lack of a better term. But But Aaron and everybody else, trying to give Alexandria's, it looks like hell. They've been through hell. They can't hardly hide it. They try, and they still, a walker gets in. But this was also a nice moment for nostalgia, for them reminiscing about when they first got to Alexandria, finding out that Pamela Milton knew her. That was all interesting. There's a lot of stuff that she's learning, and I think that our people are learning from Pamela as well. And everything comes down to Maggie. They go to Oceanside. Oceanside says, no, we're not doing it because we're going to do what Maggie does. And so everything hinges on Maggie. And Aaron, they're all so desperate. Everybody's so desperate. But Maggie being Maggie, and that's not quite accurate. Maggie she's been there since almost the beginning. She has seen so much that we don't even know about after she left, right? We don't know all the things that she's seen. But she's making a very interesting move by saying no. And I don't think it's lost on anybody out there that watches the show that, these guys could protect us. These guys could help us. But she sees Lance and she's calling him out. And she sees Pamela Milton and she's sizing her up. And sees the stormtroopers and realizes these people could save us all. But at the same time, as soon as if they ever change their mind, they could turn on us, take us down in like nothing. And so the cost, who can she trust here? Can she trust this guy? She knows that he's playing his own game. His game would be to coup. It's a coup. He's setting up a coup. Can I say coup one more time? Coup, ka-choo. Again, I'm going to blame that it's 8:06 in the morning. I've made a Morrissey reference and a slight Beatles reference. I didn't listen. Okay, moving on. So then you got Milton, who, she's all prim and proper, right? But she's also hunter. She wants to be out there in the woods looking tough. Maggie sees through all of this. She's seen everything. And we have to get to the 6 months later when Daryl shows up at her gate. This is how we're getting there. Breaks everybody else's heart that she's not doing it. So, I don't know. I think that this is a really great setup episode. I also like that they trust us to know how much time probably went by. Another kind of Game of Thrones reference is the time travel stuff, right? Where the characters would just show up and be like, let's say they were the whole infamous North of the Wall event where everybody was trapped there, and then Gendry runs off, heads south, and brings back people like that. The people who watch Game of Thrones understand what travel's like. Right from the very first episode, and I'm not turning this into a Game of Thrones video, but they talk about how long it takes to get to places. Then that went out the window. They trust us to know that there's probably been a good amount of time gone by between places that they go to, between Alexandria, between Oceanside, and to Hilltop. And they just do it slightly, and they don't have to explain it to us. We all know that it wasn't just the next day. And I really, really dig that too. So next week, we got episode 13. If you like what we're still doing here on the channel, trying to plug away and talking about The Walking Dead till the very end, thanks for watching. Again, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We'll be back next week with more Walking Dead. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.